Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert, and it's my pleasure to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. Today, we're diving into a crucial skill in hospitality sales. There's a moment in almost every negotiation that can feel like a roadblock. That moment a client says, but. Our first instinct is often to get defensive. But what if I told you that's exactly the wrong way to think about it? In this session, we're going to completely reframe how you see objections, turning them from barriers into your single biggest opportunity. Let's start with the most important mindset shift you can possibly make. An objection isn't a no, not at all. It's really a tell me more. You see, it's actually proof that your client is engaged. They're seriously considering what you're offering and are actively looking for your help to say yes. So let's build on that idea. Our first big step is to start seeing these moments as gateways, not barriers. We're going to shift our entire approach from being defensive to being collaborative. And trust me, that one change, it changes everything. I want you to think about what's really happening when a client brings up a concern. They're trying to solve a puzzle in their head. They're picturing your event space, your catering, your rooms, and they're trying to figure out how all those pieces fit into their own plan. That isn't rejection. That is pure engagement. It's your signal, your cue to jump in and start solving that puzzle with them. This right here shows the two paths you can take. On one side, you've got the defensive stance, the barrier. It feels like a fight, right? It creates conflict and puts the whole deal at risk. But if you see it as a gateway, it completely changes the dynamic. It becomes an invitation for a real conversation, a genuine opportunity to build trust. And you have to remember, it is almost never personal. When a client questions the price, they're not attacking your value. What they're really looking for is your help to justify it. They need you to give them the confidence they need to sign off on the decision. In that moment, you're not their opponent. You're their advocate. Okay, so now that we've got the right mindset, let's get tactical. I'm going to give you a clear 4-step method that you can use every single time you face an objection. This is your playbook. And here it is. Listen, clarify, respond, and align. This is your core toolkit. It all starts with truly hearing what the client is saying. Then, you dig a little deeper to find the real issue. Next, and this is key, you respond with empathy, not defensiveness. And finally, you work together to align on a solution that works for everyone. So let's break down what each of these looks like in practice. Step 1 sounds pretty obvious, doesn't it? But honestly, this is where most people go wrong. Active listening isn't just waiting quietly for your turn to talk. It's about letting them finish their thought completely. It's about hearing the worry or the frustration in their voice and then playing it back to them. A simple phrase like, okay, so it sounds like the budget is the main hurdle for you here, immediately shows you're on their side. The first objection a client gives you, let's say it's about price, that's usually just the tip of the iceberg. The real reasons, the things that really motivate them, like impressing their boss or making sure their guests are blown away, that's all hidden below the surface. You uncover those in step 2 by asking really smart, clarifying questions. Something like, could you walk me through what a perfect outcome for this event looks like for you? Now, once you know the real issue, your response is absolutely critical. This is step 3. And you have to remember, this is not a debate you need to win. It's a problem you need to solve together. Your only goal is to respond with calm, clear information that builds their confidence. And then you can move to the final step, align. This is where you say, okay, based on everything you've told me, what if we tried this? You're co-creating the solution, and that's how you turn their but into a yes. This whole skill set is just absolutely vital in our industry, especially when you're dealing with a long sales cycle. So let's talk about how patience and professionalism fit into this whole process. Think about it. Booking a major conference or a big corporate retreat isn't like booking a single room for a night. There are multiple decision makers, complex budgets, and so many layers of approval. It really is a marathon, not a sprint. And look, we all feel that pressure to close a deal quickly, but trying to force a decision will almost always backfire. Your true role here is to be a patient, trusted guide through what can be a very complicated process. So, how do you manage this waiting game? Well, you do it by nurturing the relationship. This means you have to stay on their radar without becoming an annoyance. Every single email, every phone call needs to offer some new value. Maybe it's a quick update on a new menu option you think they'd love, or sharing a great testimonial from a similar company you've recently hosted. It's all about learning the rhythm of professional persistence. Ultimately, every single objection you handle well, every professional follow-up you make, it all builds the single most valuable asset you can have in sales: trust. And that trust really rests on three core pillars. First up, transparency. You have to be honest about what you can and cannot deliver. For example, saying something like, "Our ballroom is absolutely perfect for 200 guests, but honestly, it would feel too crowded for 250, builds so much more credibility than trying to oversell. When you set realistic expectations, it shows you respect your client's success even more than your own commission. Second, adaptability. Look, no two clients are the same. A one-size-fits-all pitch almost never works. When you take the time to tailor your proposal to their specific needs and their specific pain points, you send a really powerful message. You're saying, "I listened, I understand what you need, and I've designed this solution just for you." And finally, resilience. Not every door is going to open. Some deals are going to stall, and you know what? That's just part of the process. Viewing these moments as lessons to learn from, not as personal failures, is what keeps you moving forward. It's what gives you the strength to knock on that next door with the exact same professionalism and optimism. So let's bring this all together. We've talked about the mindset, the process, and those three pillars of trust. When you combine all of these things, it leads to something much bigger than just closing a deal. It leads to a fundamental shift in who you are to your client. This, right here, is the end game. When you master these skills, you stop being just another salesperson trying to hit a quota. You become a trusted advisor. You become a partner who is genuinely invested in your client's success. And that kind of relationship, well, that brings repeat business for years and years to come. And this really brings us full circle, doesn't it? At its very heart, our industry has always been about relationships, not just transactions. By handling objections with empathy and professionalism, you're not just closing a sale, you're living the true meaning of hospitality. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. The very next time a client pushes back with a concern, you have a choice to make. Are you going to see it as a wall that's blocking your path, or are you going to see it as an open door inviting you in to build an even stronger partnership? The choice is yours.